The alien ship moved silently through the dark space, its silver body shining under the light of distant stars inside the ship. A group of aliens watched the strange new species they had captured. These were humans, beings from a small blue planet. The aliens had heard about them before, but now, for the first time, they were seeing humans with their own eyes. The humans looked calm, almost too calm. They sat in a corner of the glowing chamber, whispering to each other. One of them even smiled, and that smile sent a wave of fear through the alien crew. To the aliens, humans were unknown, and unknown always meant dangerous. The commander of the ship, tall with green scales and sharp eyes, studied the humans carefully. His name was Zarlok, and he did not trust them. He noticed something strange. The humans kept asking for food. Again and again, "We are hungry," they said. "Do you have something to eat?" At first, the aliens thought it was a simple request, but soon panic began to spread. Why were they so hungry? The aliens asked each other. How could they eat so often? Did they not eat before being captured? Zarlok's second officer whispered, "Commander, what if their hunger never ends? What if they eat and eat until nothing is left? What if they eat entire worlds?" The words fell heavy on everyone's mind. The alien scientists quickly began recording notes. One wrote, "Humans display unnatural hunger," another added, "Possible threat level, extreme." Some even remembered an old legend told in their galaxy, a legend about a species that consumed planets until only dust was left. Could these humans be that species? Meanwhile, the humans stayed calm. They were not afraid. One of them pulled something from his pocket, a small piece of food wrapped in shiny paper. He unwrapped it and began eating slowly. The aliens froze, watching every move. To them, this looked like a secret ritual. They whispered, "Is this how they begin? First a small bite, then everything." The alien guards raised their weapons, ready for any danger. But the human only laughed and offered the food to his friend. The two shared it like children sharing candy. This only confused the aliens more. Why were they laughing? Did they not understand the seriousness of their hunger? Commander Zarlok slammed his hand on the control table. "Enough," he said. "We must test them. We must know the truth of this hunger." His voice shook with anger, but deep inside he felt fear. Humans were small compared to many galactic species, but there was something unsettling about them, something that made the strongest warrior uneasy. The ship's alarm suddenly echoed, reminding everyone of their mission. They were heading to the center of the Empire, where alien leaders would decide what to do with the humans. But Zarlok knew the truth. If humans really were endless eaters, then they could never be allowed to walk free. The galaxy itself could be in danger. One young alien soldier looked at the humans again. He noticed how their eyes sparkled when food was mentioned. He whispered to his partner, "Do you think they see us as food? Do you think one day they will eat us?" The other soldier shivered, not answering. The humans, however, seemed unaware of the fear around them. One tapped the glass wall of the chamber and asked politely, "Do you have bread or maybe meat?" The aliens looked at each other in horror. Bread and meat. Were these just the first words of an endless list? How much did humans truly need? The silence inside the ship grew heavier. No one dared speak. The only sound was the quiet laughter of the humans, and the soft crinkle of shiny wrappers as they unwrapped another snack they had hidden. The aliens could not understand it. Was this laughter a weapon, or was it the sound of a predator before the hunt? Zarlok turned his gaze back to the stars. He knew one thing. The galaxy had to be warned. The humans were not simple prisoners. They were a mystery, a possible danger, and maybe even the greatest threat the universe had ever faced. And so, with fear in their hearts, the alien ship carried the humans deeper into the unknown. The aliens thought they had captured humans, but in truth, it was their own minds that were now trapped by fear. The part ended with a chilling image. The humans sitting calmly, smiling, and eating their strange little food while the aliens whispered among themselves, wondering if the hunger of humans could ever be stopped. The alien ship glided into the deep dark of space, but inside its metal walls panic was spreading like fire. The crew could not forget the strange hunger of the humans. It was not normal, it was not safe, and it felt like a hidden storm waiting to explode. Commander Zarlok stood before his officers. His green scales caught the dim light as he spoke. "We are dealing with something unknown. These humans ask for food again and again. They smile as if their hunger is nothing. But I see danger behind those smiles." His words sent shivers down the spines of the soldiers. Some remembered the old legends their ancestors told them. Legends of a species called the Endless Devourers. Beings who traveled from star to star, planet to planet, eating everything in their path until nothing was left but dust. Could it be that humans were those same creatures? Reborn in flesh and bone, the ship's scientists debated in low voices. One said, "Look at how often they ask. They are never full, never satisfied," another added. "If they consume without end, then they are more dangerous than any weapon." The scientists filled their tablets with notes, numbers and warnings. Every word added weight to the fear. But while the aliens panicked, the humans remained calm. They laughed, they whispered, they even made jokes about food. Their behavior made no sense to the aliens. How could prisoners act so fearless? Why did they laugh when surrounded by armed guards? On the lower deck, two soldiers whispered. One asked, "What if their hunger is not only for food? What if they hunger for power, for control, for our very lives?" The other soldier shook his head but could not hide the tremble in his voice. "If that is true, then none of us are safe." Word of human hunger spread across the ship. From the engine room to the medical bay, everyone talked about it. Some claimed the humans could eat the ship itself, chewing through metal with their strange teeth. Others believed the humans might demand entire planets as meals. The rumors grew wild, but no one dared to laugh. Meanwhile, the humans made another request. "We would like something sweet," one of them said kindly. The alien guard almost dropped his weapon in shock. Sweet? What did that mean? Was it code for some hidden weapon? Was it the first demand in a long chain that would lead to the destruction of the galaxy? Commander Zarlok gathered his council. "If these creatures hunger for endless resources, then we must prepare," he declared. "The leaders of the Empire must know what we carry. If humans are the endless devourers, then they are a threat to every star and every planet." His voice was cold, but his heart raced with unease. On the observation deck, an alien child looked at the humans through the glass barrier. Her eyes were wide. She whispered to her mother, "Mama, will they eat us too?" The mother pulled her close, not answering, but her silence was louder than any scream. The fear was not only with the soldiers and scientists. It had reached the ordinary hearts of the crew. Still, the humans acted as if nothing was wrong. One sat on the floor and began humming softly. Another stretched and yawned like someone about to nap. To the aliens, it was terrifying. How could they be so relaxed? Did they not know the danger they represented, or were they hiding a dark truth? The ship's communication officer sent a coded message to the Empire. "We carry humans," the message said. "They show unnatural hunger. They may be the ones from the old stories. Prepare for possible threat." The message traveled across space, faster than light, reaching ears that had long feared such words. In the council chamber of the Empire, leaders read the report with grave faces. One whispered, "If this is true, then we are in great danger." Another said, "We must act before they act. We must know the truth of this hunger." Across the galaxy, fear began to spread. Back on the ship, night cycle fell, but no one could sleep. Soldiers stood alert, guarding the humans who now slept peacefully. One soldier whispered, "Look at them, they close their eyes as if they are harmless. But what if this is their trick? What if when we sleep, they wake and begin to eat?" The fear twisted every thought. Even silence became suspicious. Every laugh from the humans was a threat. Every smile was a warning. The aliens were trapped not only with humans but also with their own imagination. Commander Zarlok looked once more at his prisoners. He did not see fragile beings from a distant blue planet. He saw a riddle, a mystery wrapped in hunger. He saw a storm that could either pass harmlessly or destroy the galaxy itself. The chamber lights dimmed. The humans stirred in their sleep. One of them mumbled a single word. "Pizza!" The aliens froze, staring at each other. No one knew what that word meant, but it sounded dangerous. It sounded like a demand that might never end, and so the ship moved on, carrying both humans and fear through the stars. The galaxy was waiting, the truth was waiting, but for now, only hunger and silence filled the void. The alien ship moved closer to the Empire's capital, but before they arrived, Commander Zarlok made a decision. He could not take the humans to the leaders without proof. If humans truly had endless hunger, the council would demand action. If it was only rumor, then the commander would look like a fool. He needed answers, and he needed them now. In the laboratory chamber, glowing with strange blue light, the humans were brought in. The scientists stood ready, their tools prepared. Their job was simple but dangerous. They would test the limits of human hunger. The humans looked confused. One asked, "Are you finally giving us food?" His tone was calm, but to the aliens it sounded like the voice of a predator, waiting for prey to be released. Commander Zarlok nodded. "Yes, you shall eat. But we will watch." The first tray was brought in. It was filled with thick slices of red meat from a creature that lived on the ice world of Torga. To the aliens, it was a rare and powerful meal. One piece could keep them full for days. The humans leaned forward, curious, but then one wrinkled his nose. "What is this? Doesn't smell right." He pushed the tray away. The aliens gasped. Refusing food was unheard of. Why would a species with endless hunger reject a feast? Another tray was placed before them. It contained glowing fruits from the forests of Narien. The fruits pulsed with energy, enough to power a small machine. The humans poked at them, then shook their heads. "Too strange, we can't eat this," the scientists wrote quickly. Observation: humans reject powerful energy food. Observation: hunger remains, but choice is selective. The aliens whispered among themselves. Maybe humans were not simply endless eaters. Maybe they hungered only for special resources. What if those resources were rare metals or starship fuel? To test further, the aliens brought in more. A mountain of steaming dishes from across the empire. Roasted beasts, glowing plants, even liquids that burned with fire. The humans looked at them one by one and rejected them all. "We don't want this," one said softly. "We want bread or meat, or something sweet. Bread, meat, sweet." The words became like dark spells in the ears of the aliens. What if these words meant something more? What if bread was a code for soil, meat for planets, sweet for suns themselves? The scientists trembled, filling their reports with darker predictions. Finally, one human sighed. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small packet. Inside was a simple snack bar. He tore it open and began to eat. The smell filled the chamber, soft, warm, unlike anything the aliens had ever known. The other humans laughed and begged for a piece. They shared it like treasure. The aliens stepped back, eyes wide. They had offered mountains of food, but the humans had rejected all of it instead. They ate their own hidden food with joy. The commander clenched his fists. "Do you see?" he shouted. "They hunger for what only they possess. They will demand it from us, and when we cannot provide, they will consume us instead." The soldiers raised their weapons, fear rushing through their veins. But the humans ignored them, too busy enjoying their little snack. They smiled, they laughed, and they shared. To them, it was simple. To the aliens, it was terrifying. One scientist, braver than the rest, leaned closer. "Tell me," he asked, "why do you not eat our food? Why do you hunger for something different?" The human looked up, crumbs on his lips, and answered with a grin. "Because it's not the food we know. We want something familiar. Something from home." The word home echoed in the chamber. For a moment, the aliens were silent. Could it be that this endless hunger was not about power, but about memory, about comfort? Yet fear quickly drowned the thought. Comfort or not, hunger was still dangerous. Hunger was still endless. Commander Zarlok ended the test. His voice was sharp. "Enough. Lock them away until we reach the capital. The council will decide." The guards moved quickly, but their hands shook. None wanted to be near humans any longer. As the humans were taken back to their chamber, one of them whispered to another, "They really don't understand us." "Do they?" The other laughed. "Not at all. Wait until they see what pizza is." The aliens heard the strange word again. Pizza, it haunted them like a shadow. They added it to their notes. Unknown food type, possible weapon, dangerous? The fear grew heavier. In the quiet of the ship, the humans settled once more. They hummed, they laughed, and they dreamed of meals from home. The aliens, however, could not rest. Their minds spun with visions of worlds consumed, galaxies stripped, and civilizations lost to human hunger. And so the ship carried not only bodies, but secrets. The truth of hunger remained unsolved. Was it endless or was it simple? No alien could answer. All they knew was this: humans hungered still, and their hunger frightened the stars themselves. The alien ship drifted through the silent dark, but inside its walls, fear grew louder than the engines. The hunger test had failed to bring comfort. Instead, it had only deepened the mystery. Humans refused the Empire's food, yet they still asked for more. They laughed, they smiled, and they whispered about strange things like bread, chocolate, and pizza. To the aliens, every word felt like a secret code. Rumors spread across the ship like wildfire. A technician swore he heard the humans say they wanted a feast. Another claimed the humans had spoken about eating everything in sight. No one stopped to ask if the words were jokes, or simple talk about food to the crew. Every sentence became proof of danger. In the mess hall, soldiers whispered nervously. One said, "They will never stop. They rejected our food because they want something bigger." Another added, "What if they hunger for us? What if we are the meat they speak of?" Fear twisted their thoughts until logic was lost. Commander Zarlok tried to hold order, but even he felt the tension in the air. His scales itched with unease. The reports from the scientists were troubling. Humans are selective eaters, one note read. Their hunger is emotional, not physical. Yet it never ends, to the commander. That sounded worse than endless hunger. It meant their desire was deeper than the stomach. It meant nothing could satisfy them. On the observation deck, ordinary workers avoided looking at the human chamber. Some believed that even eye contact could draw attention. "If they see you," one whispered, "they will remember your face when they feast." The fear became a living thing crawling through the halls of the ship. The humans, however, lived in a different world. To them, the alien ship was a prison, but not a cruel one. They joked to pass the time. One human tapped the glass wall and said, "Hey, can we get fries with that?" His friend laughed so loudly that the guards outside nearly dropped their weapons. The sound of laughter felt like thunder to alien ears. The more humans joked, the more aliens grew certain. This was not laughter of innocence, it was the laughter of predators. It was the sound of a species that knew its own strength. And so the misunderstanding deepened. One night cycle. A group of aliens walked past the chamber and heard humans singing. The song was about food, about warmth, about gathering together. The aliens froze in terror. To them, it sounded like a war chant, a ritual before consumption. They ran to their commander and reported, "They are preparing for a feast. They are preparing for us." Commander Zarlok tightened his grip on the control table. His heart was heavy. He wanted to believe these were only rumors, but every sign pointed to danger. He sent orders to increase security. Double the guards, lock the chambers tighter. Never let the humans out of sight in the lower decks. A young alien child asked her father, "Papa, why do they smile so much? Why do they always ask for food?" The father frowned and whispered, "Because they are not like us, child. Their hunger has no end." The child shivered, imagining humans with mouths that stretched forever, swallowing stars. The humans noticed the extra guards, but only joked more. "Wow, are we celebrities now?" one said. Another laughed. "Must be the pizza fan club." They thought it was funny. But the aliens thought it was cruel. Why would a dangerous species mock their fear unless it was a game? Tension reached its breaking point when one human pulled a snack from his pocket again. The aliens saw it as a forbidden act. "They are hiding resources," the guards shouted. "They bring their own food to test us," weapons were raised. But the humans simply broke the snack in half and shared it. The aliens gasped, mistaking it for a secret pact. The scientists tried to calm the soldiers. "Perhaps this is ritual bonding," they explained. But even that theory caused more fear. If they bond through food, then what will happen when they share a meal of us? One soldier muttered. The thought spread quickly, poisoning every mind. The humans continued with their laughter. Completely unaware, one even drew shapes on the glass wall. Circles and triangles, he was only passing time. But the aliens thought it was a map, a plan of conquest by the next day cycle. The ship was drowning in paranoia. Some believed humans were spies. Others believed they were gods of hunger. A few whispered that they might even be the ones to end time itself. No two stories matched, yet all agreed on one thing. Humans were not safe. Humans were too strange. Commander Zarlok stood in his chamber. Staring at the stars outside, his officers argued around him. Some said the humans must be destroyed before it was too late. Others said they must be studied forever. No one spoke of peace. Fear had killed that thought. The commander clenched his jaw. "We will not destroy them, not yet," he declared. "But we must prepare for the worst. Their hunger grows, and soon it will reach beyond food." His voice echoed through the halls, feeding the fear even more inside their chamber. The humans sat quietly now. Their jokes faded, replaced by tired sighs. One whispered, "They really don't get us." "Do they?" Another nodded. "No, they don't. And I think it's only getting worse." And so, while the humans dreamed of simple meals and warm kitchens, the aliens dreamed of nightmares, each smile, each laugh. Each word about food twisted into a threat. Misunderstanding grew like a shadow, and soon it would consume everything. The alien ship floated in the dark sea of stars, but inside its walls, tension had reached its highest point. Fear was no longer a whisper in the corridors. It was a storm, heavy and dangerous. Every alien looked over their shoulder, expecting the humans to reveal their true hunger at any moment. Commander Zarlok walked through the halls, his green scales cold under the light. He could hear soldiers muttering, "They will eat us. They will eat us all." He tried to silence them, but he could not silence their fear. The misunderstanding had grown too strong. Inside the human chamber, laughter still echoed. The prisoners were telling jokes, trading stories about food. One spoke about burgers bigger than your hands, another described a mountain of pancakes. The aliens listening outside froze in terror. To them, these were not jokes, they were threats, warnings of what humans wanted to devour next. Finally, the soldiers could not take it anymore. They stormed into the commander's chamber. "We demand answers," they shouted. "We cannot guard them while they hunger. We cannot sleep knowing they may eat us when we close our eyes." Zarlok raised his hand for silence, but his own heart was restless. The time had come, the truth had to be faced. The humans were taken to the central hall of the ship, a vast room where the walls glowed with blue light. The soldiers surrounded them, weapons aimed. The scientists stood ready to record. The commander stepped forward, his voice cold but shaking with hidden fear. "Humans, we demand the truth. What is your hunger? Why do you never stop asking for food?" The humans looked at each other. Confused, one laughed nervously. "We're just hungry, that's it." "We like food." The aliens roared in anger. To them, this was mockery. How could endless hunger be explained so lightly? Zarlok slammed his hand on the control table. "Do not lie to us," he shouted. "You refuse the food of our worlds. You spoke of feasts and mountains of meals. You whispered of strange words like pizza and chocolate. You hide food in your pockets and share it in secret. What are you planning?" The humans tried to explain, but their simple words only fueled the fire. "We just want something familiar, something from home," one said. But to the aliens, home sounded like a target, a base where the endless devourers gathered strength. The guards raised their weapons higher. Their claws shook, their hearts raced. It felt like war was seconds away, one soldier hissed. "We should strike now before they strike first." The chamber grew heavy with silence. Then it happened. One human slowly reached into his pocket. The aliens gasped. Weapons clicked, ready to fire. The commander shouted, "Stop! What are you hiding?" The human pulled out a small bar, wrapped in silver paper. He unwrapped it carefully, broke it into pieces, and smiled. "It's just chocolate," he said, offering a piece to his friend. The humans laughed, chewing happily. The aliens nearly collapsed in panic. Chocolate, what was that? A weapon, a source of power? Something so rare they carried it with reverence, the scientists scribbled furiously. Observation. Humans carry powerful objects in their pockets. They consume them in moments of tension, possible energy source, possible ritual. Zarlok's voice cracked with fury. "Do not play games with us. What is this chocolate? Why do you consume it like treasure?" The humans laughed even harder. One explained, "It's just sweet food, that's all." But the aliens did not believe. The tension grew unbearable. Soldiers aimed directly at the humans. The humans raised their hands in defense, still laughing. "Please calm down, it's only candy," they begged. But candy meant nothing to alien ears. The young soldier who had once whispered his fears stepped forward now. His eyes burned. "Commander, they mock us. They hide their true hunger. We must act before it is too late." His words echoed across the chamber. The soldiers leaned forward, ready to obey. For a moment, time stood still. The humans stared at the glowing weapons. Confused and afraid, the aliens stared at the humans. Trembling and angry, it felt like one breath could trigger the end. Then one human did something unexpected. He tore his last piece of chocolate in half and offered it to the nearest guard. "Here," he said gently. "Try it, you'll see it's not dangerous." The guard froze, staring at the tiny brown square. His claws shook as he reached out. The entire ship seemed to hold its breath. Commander Zarlok shouted, "Don't touch it," but it was too late. The soldier placed the piece in his mouth. The taste exploded across his tongue. Sweet, strange, unlike anything he had ever known. His eyes widened, not with fear but with wonder. The hall fell silent. The humans smiled, whispering, "See? It's just food." But the silence was not relief. It was confusion. It was the heavy pause before the next storm, because now the aliens had two fears. The first was that humans hungered without end. The second was worse. What if their food was so powerful, so addictive, that even aliens could fall under its spell? The breaking point had been reached. Weapons still pointed, hearts still racing. But the fear had changed shape. It was no longer only about hunger. It was about influence, about power, about something sweet that could bend even a soldier's will, and so the misunderstanding did not end. It only grew. The humans thought they had shared kindness. The aliens thought they had witnessed control, and in that fragile moment, the galaxy's future trembled on the edge of a single bite. The great hull of the alien ship was still heavy with silence. Soldiers stood frozen, their weapons raised. Humans stood still, their hands lifted. And in the center of it all, one young alien soldier chewed the last piece of human chocolate. His eyes wide, his mind spinning, the taste was sweet, richer than anything he had known. It was not a weapon. It was not energy, it was simply food. Simple and strange, yet it filled him with warmth. It made him feel lighter, for the first time. He wondered if everything they feared about humans was wrong, but Commander Zarlok saw only danger. His voice thundered across the chamber. Do you see they have power in their food? They make us crave it. They use it to control us. His words struck the soldiers like hammers. They believed because fear was easier to hold than doubt. The humans looked at each other. Confused and tired, one stepped forward. His voice calm but pleading. Please, you don't understand. It's only candy, nothing more. We eat it because it makes us happy, not because it gives us power. The aliens muttered in disbelief. Happy? What kind of species risked war for something so simple? To them, food was survival, nothing more. The idea that food could carry memory or joy was beyond their thinking. One scientist raised his voice. Commander, perhaps we should listen. Their hunger may not be endless, it may be emotional. But Zarlok silenced him with a glare. Do not be fooled. They rejected our strongest meals. They chose their own hidden food. This is not chance. This is design, the humans sighed. They could see that words alone were not enough, so one of them did something bold. He pulled another bar from his pocket, unwrapped it slowly, and held it out toward the commander himself. Taste it, he said softly. Then you will know the truth, the hall gasped. Soldiers tightened their grip. Commander Zarlok's eyes burned with fury, but also with curiosity. For a moment he hesitated. Then slowly he reached out. His claw took the piece, his teeth closed around it. The sweetness spread across his tongue. He froze, his eyes widened. He had never felt such a taste. It was not survival. It was not strength. It was comfort. It was warmth. It reminded him of something he had almost forgotten. Long ago, when his mother had fed him soft fruit on their homeworld, when he was still a hatchling for the first time, Commander Zarlok felt human hunger, and he understood it was not about destruction. It was about memory. It was about love. It was about the way humans carried pieces of home wherever they went. The commander dropped his weapon hand, his voice cracked. This is what you hunger for. Not power, not worlds, only sweetness. Only memory? The humans nodded quickly, smiles soft and hopeful. Yes, one said. Food for us is not only survival. It is happiness. It is how we share, how we love, how we remember. The hall trembled with whispers. The soldiers looked at each other, unsure. Could it be true? Could all their fear have been a shadow of misunderstanding? The young soldier who had first tasted chocolate stepped forward. His voice quiet. Commander, it is not poison. It is not control. It is beautiful. The tension cracked, but it did not vanish. Some soldiers lowered their weapons. Others still pointed them. Fear does not die so easily. But a seed of doubt had been planted for the first time. The aliens wondered if humans were not monsters at all. The scientists recorded new notes. Observation, human hunger linked to emotion. Observation, food. Functions as memory and bonding. Their voices shook with excitement, but also with fear. For if it was true, then humans carried something powerful indeed. The humans smiled, encouraged, one said. We share food because it brings us closer, not because it gives us strength. That is our truth. He broke another small piece and placed it against the glass as if offering it to everyone. The commander stared at that tiny piece, his heart conflicted. He had spent his life fearing predators, guarding his people against destruction. Yet here was a species that fought wars not with weapons, but with bread, meat, and sweets. How strange. How dangerous in its own way, because he saw it now. If humans could make enemies lower their weapons with a single taste, if they could turn fear into laughter with a simple snack, then they were powerful indeed, not as devourers, but as changers, as unifiers. Zarlok turned to his soldiers. "Lower your weapons," he said. His voice was heavy but steady. "We may have feared too much. Let us see their truth." Slowly, reluctantly, the weapons lowered. The humans relaxed, their shoulders easing. For the first time since their capture, there was no wall of fear between them. The aliens still did not fully understand, but they had seen enough to doubt their own panic. And doubt was the first step toward truth. As the hall emptied, the commander whispered to himself, "Perhaps the legends were wrong. Perhaps humans are not the endless devourers, but something else. Something stranger." His eyes lingered on the empty wrapper in his hand, a fragile piece of silver paper that now carried the weight of the galaxy. The humans returned to their chamber. Tired but smiling, they had not won freedom yet, but they had won something small. The first crack in the wall of misunderstanding, the first light of trust in a sea of fear. And as the ship moved closer to the Empire's capital, the question grew heavier. Would the leaders see the truth, or would they still cling to fear? For now, only one thing was certain. The truth of human hunger had been revealed, but the galaxy was not ready to believe it. The alien ship entered the orbit of the Empire's capital, a shining world covered in towers and glowing rivers. Inside the vessel, tension still lingered. Though weapons were lowered, soldiers whispered to each other, uncertain. Some believed the humans were harmless. Others still feared the strange hunger that had shaken their hearts. Commander Zarlok stood at the command deck, his claw resting on the table. He thought of the taste of chocolate. He thought of his childhood. He thought of the way the humans smiled when they shared food. His heart was caught between fear and wonder, between the legends of destruction and the possibility of peace. The humans sat quietly in their chamber, waiting. They no longer laughed as much. Their eyes carried the weight of the last confrontation. They knew one mistake could still turn the aliens against them. But they also knew something had changed. The aliens had tasted their truth, even if they did not yet believe fully. The seed had been planted when the ship landed. The humans were taken before the Grand Council of the Empire. The chamber was massive, filled with leaders of many species, some with wings, some with scales, some made of shimmering light. All stared at the humans with suspicion. Whispers filled the air. Are these the endless devourers? Do they carry hunger without end? What do they want from our stars? Commander Zarlok stepped forward, his voice steady. These are humans. They do hunger, yes, but not as we feared. Their hunger is not for planets nor for suns. Their hunger is for something else, something we did not understand. He lifted the silver wrapper he had kept. Their hunger is for memory, for joy, for connection. The council erupted in disbelief. One leader shouted, "Impossible! No species risks war for such weakness," another hissed. "It is a trick. They soften us with sweetness before they consume us." Fear filled the chamber once more. The guards tightened their hold on the humans, ready for orders. Then one human stepped forward. His voice was soft but clear. "We never wanted to frighten you. Food for us is not only to live, it is how we share. It is how we become family. When we laugh, when we eat together, we remember who we are. That is our truth." He reached into his pocket and revealed his last treasure, a simple piece of bread. He broke the bread in half, then in half again. He offered it with open hands. "Take this, eat with us, and you will see." The aliens froze. The council stared in silence. To share food was not their way. Food was survival, not ceremony. Yet there was something in the humans' eyes, a warmth that cut through the fear. Finally, one elder of the council stepped down. His body was old, his wings faded, but his eyes burned with wisdom. He took the bread gently and placed it in his mouth. The taste was plain, simple, but his heart stirred. It reminded him of when his people were young, when they sat together after the first harvests, before war had taught them to see food only as survival. The elder whispered, "It is not poison, it is not power, it is kindness." The chamber grew quiet. The tension cracked. The other leaders watched. Uncertain but curious, more hands reached forward, breaking pieces, tasting the simple bread. Some frowned, some smiled, but all felt something strange, something warm. The humans smiled softly. Now you know this is our hunger, not to take, but to share. Slowly, weapons were lowered. Suspicion faded, not completely, but enough for the first step. Commander Zarlok exhaled heavily. His voice carried across the hall. Perhaps we were wrong. Perhaps the humans are not devourers, but givers. The council hesitated. But the seed of doubt had become a seed of hope. One leader asked, "If this is true, if humans hunger for sharing, then what do they bring to the galaxy?" The human answered, "We bring our tables, our kitchens, our laughter. We bring a hunger that does not destroy but connects." The words settled like soft light. For the first time, the council did not see humans as monsters, but as something new, something strange, something dangerous in a different way. Because unity is powerful, because kindness is harder to fight than any weapon. That night, for the first time in history, the aliens and the humans sat together. The humans shared the last of their snacks. The aliens brought their glowing fruits and roasted meats. They sat in a great circle, eating, laughing. Though they did not fully understand each other, they felt closer. Commander Zarlok tasted another piece of chocolate. He smiled, though his pride tried to hide it. He whispered to himself, "What we feared as endless hunger was only the endless human heart." The stars outside shone brighter than before, as if the galaxy itself had leaned closer to listen. The humans were no longer prisoners. They were guests, they were strangers still, but no longer enemies. And so the story of fear turned into the story of a feast. The legends of the endless devourers would fade, replaced by new tales. Tales of humans who shared food instead of taking worlds. Tales of laughter that echoed through the stars. The galaxy did not know what future would come. There would still be mistrust. There would still be fear. But there would also be bread and chocolate and laughter. And that was enough to begin something greater.